self-education, a critical success factor in fulfilling your calling. We've talked a lot about calling in December, last days of 2020. So now we're in 2021, and I'm asking myself, how then do we implement what we have learned? We need to understand how vital, how critical, how crucial, and how important self-education is for us as human beings. As human beings. The fact that we literally cannot do much in life without self-education. So the goal of what we have done so far at Life Calling and Career Clinic is basically helping each and every one of us with self-education. What we are discussing today, if it can be well mastered, it will be a turning point in your life. If you are able to put this into practice, you will forever be grateful that you are on this platform. If you can put it into practice, your life will start to take shape. If you can put it into practice, you are sure to fulfill your destiny on the earth. And that is self-education. I had a session this week with some people, and I thought that this was necessary, having had that conversation with those people. I'm very much perfectly in line with what we are trying to achieve as we go into the new year. So I'd like to beg you not to take this seminar as probably others you have attended in the past, because the understanding of the principle to be learned in today's session is what creates the difference between us in life. What creates the difference between us in life is based on what we are discussing today. That's what creates the difference between us in life. So, our life is a product of what we know. And what we know is basically a function of what we have exposed ourselves to. And that's the power and force of self-education. Let me start by stating that there's a difference between academics, education, and revelation. My focus tonight is on education. 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 You and I, you agree with me that the fact that someone went to school does not mean he's educated. That person is just academically qualified. Academics is what they taught you, education is what you teach yourself. And of course, revelation is what you are given. So academic qualification is what regulates society, making us to know who is qualified to do a particular job. But through education as human, you are able to make the right choices. You are able to look at what options exist before you, and you're able to make the right choice. There are some people, if they are in school, they are in school. They have not finished their education. But opportunity comes to travel. I'm telling you, they will ditch their education and travel. Why? They will stop going to school to travel. Why? They are unable to make choices, right choice. And for me, I cannot say your choice is right or wrong until I know where you are going. So if an individual has not even decided where he's going, and then he make that decision, he will make it worse. Because he doesn't even know where he's going in the first place. But that's the way people live. We just take a decision. We just take a decision. Not because we have thought it through, because many people really cannot even make decisions, actually. They can't make a decision. Why? They are incapable of critically analyzing their reality and making the best option in life. They are incapable of doing that. So by the standard of education, which is the ability of a human being to be able to observe a situation and ask the right question and know which option he should choose, by that standard, many that went to school are not educated. In fact, even if you receive revelation, either through intuition or through inspiration, you won't be able to do anything with it because there is no self-education. I must say, a very, very big challenge, I must say. A very, very big challenge, I must say. The individual are unable to interpret their reality correctly. Unable to correctly interpret their reality. Unable to correctly interpret their reality. Just living based on happenstance and circumstance, not by design. Self-education allows you to recreate yourself, to become who you were made to be. You know what I discovered? You continue to live the life that someone else prescribed for you until you engage in self-education. What you have today is a product of someone else's design. People choose for you your name, your school, your environment, where you live. You will not be able to reverse this trend of people deciding out for you how to live your life until you are engaging in self-education. Self-education is so important for us as humans. It will keep you to reverse the trend and begin to live for yourself. This is one of the most important responsibilities you have to undertake in life. And it's great we are discussing it at the beginning of the year. The need for you to aggressively get involved in self-education. The need for you to aggressively get involved in self-education. A man that is not self-educating himself is irresponsible for his life. Becoming your true self is the most important project on the earth. And that's what self-education helps you to achieve. You know, through self-education, you're able to discover yourself. It helps you with self-discovery, self-awareness, and self-actualization. A product designed to function in a particular way and is unable to function that way is said to be useless. No wonder Jesus said that if a salt has lost its sweetness, it's good for nothing, but rather to be trodden under the foot of men. The power of self-education is enormous. It helps you to discover your true self. It helps you to discover your true self. Self-education is a process of interpreting yourself to the world. Self-education prepares the mind for cultivation. Some of the things we discuss here are deliberately designed to educate our mind. Self-education transforms you, literally transform your life. That's why the scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Self-education helps you to have raw material for thinking. You know already that to think is to query your database. If your database is shallow, the quality of thought will be poor. If your database is shallow, the quality of thought will be poor, and you will not be able to get result or answer that you are finding and looking for. Self-education prepares your mind for cultivation, and your mind is the most valuable asset you have in life. Your mind is the most valuable asset you have in life. Self-education helps you to have the right question in life. Self-education helps you to seek for answer. It helps you to seek for answer. Self-education helps you to seek for answer. If there's no self-education, you will not be able to seek for answer. And you need to keep asking questions and finding answer to those questions. Why is that important? If you don't ask questions, you will accept everything everybody tells you. Self-education helps you to ask the right question in life. Self-education helps you to seek for answers. Not just ask the question, seek for answers. Remember, it gives you the raw material for thinking. Raw material for thinking. Raw material for thinking. Self-education helps you to know why you are where you are right now. You will know why you are where you are right now. Why are you here at this time? Why are you where you are in your journey of life? Self-education helps you to answer that question. If you are unable to answer that question, it's because you are not self-educating yourself. You are in school. Why are you in school? You are working. Why are you working? You're on a job. Why are you having a job? We are doing business. Why are you having? You must be able to put that in context. That is the power of self-education. In fact, self-education makes you to be able to live by design, not by default. The reason why it appears tough for some people to be able to do what others are doing, and they desire to do it, but they are unable to do it, they've not found the why. Self-education helps you to find the why. Self-education helps you to find the why. When you know why, you can bear anyhow. When you know why, you can bear anyhow. When you know why, you can bear anyhow. When you don't know why, you cannot bear anything. Because you don't even know the reason why you have to endure anyway. You don't know the reason why you have to endure anyway. So you can't bear at all. You can't bear at all. You can't bear at all. Self-education helps you to give your best. So you can be the best. It helps you to give your best so you can be the best. Please note, you will not become the best if you are not giving the best. If you do not give the best, you cannot become the best. If you do not give the best, you cannot become the best. If you are not giving the best, you cannot become the best. You have an obligation. You have an obligation to be the best. Self-education helps you to be the best. Self-education helps you not to compare yourself with others. Do you know why people compare themselves with others? Lack of self-education. Self-education is literally the foundation of the change you desire in your life. Literally, the foundation of the change, of the growth you desire in your life. Self-education helps you to be able to properly define different things in life. It helps you to always seek for the right definition. Self-education helps you to always seek for the right definition. Self-education helps you to always seek for the right definition. And when you have the right definition in life, it helps you to give proper interpretation. Self-education helps you to give proper interpretation. It helps you to maximize your stay on the earth. Not to just come and while away and waste time, but to maximize your stay on the earth. It helps you to define work correctly, define money correctly, define your spouse and children correctly, define your job correctly, define your business correctly, define everything you do correctly. You know, just to put in perspective work, I was having a conversation with my colleague in the office on Friday, and someone was saying that the reason why some young graduates will rather, they will finish school, they won't do anything, that they will say, I would rather stay at home doing nothing than to volunteer or to go and work anywhere, even if they don't pay you. You know why? They don't understand the reason for work, because they think work is about earning. I don't know how to push this into people, that we begin to have a good understanding of the purpose of work. Definition rule our lives. Definition rule our life. Self-education helps you to define everything in life correctly. You define relationship correctly. You know, some people have access to highly placed people. Instead of tapping into their wisdom to be able to become who they are only interested in what they will earn from them. They are only interested in what they will earn from them. Can you imagine? And because they're only interested in what they will earn from them, you know what happened? They lose the opportunity to be like those highly placed people. Because instead of them focusing on studying these people, asking them questions to be able to know how they achieve what they've achieved, so that they can also put the same principle in place, because whatever anybody have achieved in life, any other person is capable of achieving it. If the person can discover the principle the other person has practiced and put those principles into practice, the person will achieve his objective. That's why, is it Roger Bannister that first scale the 4 mile, is it in 2 minutes or something? And the year he did it, up until that year, for hundreds of years, in Olympic, nobody have achieved that objective. That same year, 4 people broke that record. Why? It is in the mind. If anybody can do it, you can. What you need to do is to learn from the person. But instead of learning, some people are just interested in handouts. So they have access to a highly placed people. They are looking for what they will get, not how to replicate what those people have practiced in their own life. Self-education makes you to think how to replicate what the person has practiced in your life, not handout. Not handout. Not handout. Not handout. And that's the power of self-education, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to drive this in tonight. I'm happy we're having this conversation in January. Please, I beg you, in the name of the Lord, engage in aggressive self-education this year. And you will not regret by the end of the year what you will have achieved in your life. The difference in our life is in self-education. That is what creates different perspective. We all see the same thing, but we all view the same thing, but see different things. You know why we see different things? It is because of self-education. The reason why we view the same thing, but see different things is because of self-education. 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 And that's why it appears some people, it's like their thinking is just different from others. Why? Self-education. How do I emphasize this tonight? I'm looking for the best way to emphasize this tonight. The power of self-education. Aggressive. Thank you very much, Meshach. Aggressive self-education. Aggressive self-education. Aggressive self-education. Self-education enables you to see opportunity where others see problem. This is the difference between us as human beings, sincerely. When you're asking, why are some people able to do something? Why? It's self-education. It's self-education. It makes your mind to expand and begin to see possibilities where others see challenges. You only see possibilities where others are seeing challenges. That is the power of self-education. Where you are today is as a result of self-education. Remember, I've defined education. I'm not talking about academics. This education I'm talking about is what you teach yourself. It makes you to be able to examine your environment, question it well, and know what option to choose. And know the best option to explore. Self-education enables you to see opportunity where others see problems. It enables you to be full of ideas. It helps you to always give the right interpretation to different situations that confront you in life. It helps you to give the right interpretation to different situations that confront you in life. The reason why people commit suicide is because of wrong interpretation. The reason why people commit suicide is because of wrong interpretation. Definition rule our life, ladies and gentlemen. Definition rule our life. Definition rule our life. When you are faced with challenges and situations, how do you interpret it? That interpretation is the problem. That interpretation is the problem. That interpretation is the problem. We often, almost always, have the wrong interpretation. We often, almost always have the wrong interpretation because we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way we are. You don't see things the way they are, ladies and gentlemen. You see things the way you are. So, for example, all of us have a spectacle with which we see the world. All of us. There is a spectacle with which we see the world. There is a spectacle with which we see the world. There is a spectacle with which we see the world. There is a spectacle with which we see the world. So if my spectacle is red, everything I see will be red. Have you ever wondered why some people, they attribute every challenge to the devil? Churches give you spectacle. Churches give you spectacle. Churches shapes your worldview. Churches shapes your worldview. Churches shapes your worldview. Because churches shaping your worldview, you know what happened? You interpret reality based on your worldview. You interpret reality based on your worldview. You interpret reality based on, so you don't see things the way they are. You see things the way you are. You don't see things the way they are. You see things the way you are. You don't see things the way they are. You see things the way you are. And because you see things the way you are, your interpretation is often not correct. Your interpretation is often not correct. Your interpretation is often not correct. Your interpretation is colored. Your interpretation is colored. And because your interpretation is colored, you are unable to interpret reality correctly. You are unable to interpret reality correctly. You are unable, you are incapable of interpreting reality correctly. That is why we all need self-education. Society have deceived us, giving us the wrong interpretation. So self-education helps you to have the right interpretation in different situations that confront you in life. So if you realize you're always thinking negatively, or you're always thinking, you just feel there's something just wrong with the way you reason, you don't interpret reality correctly, it's because of lack of self-education. Be ye transformed by renewing of your mind. Your mind needs to be renewed. 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 If your mind is not renewed, you will not be transformed. How do you renew your mind? Self-education. So the anchor of the conversation tonight is in that scripture, be ye transformed by renewing your mind. Be ye transformed by renewing your mind. Be ye transformed by renewing your mind. The power of self-education. Be ye transformed by renewing your mind. Self-education helps you to renew your mind, and that leads to transformation. Your life literally changed. Your life literally transformed. And people are wondering, what has happened to this guy? What has happened to this lady? They don't know that it is self-education. Self-education helps you to be able to know the changing times and seasons in your life. You don't attribute everything to the devil and the enemy and someone in the village. Life is in seasons. There'll be up time and there'll be down time. Because you already understand life is in season because of self-education, when there is up, you save enough. You plant. You keep some. When there is famine, downtime, you are able to survive. You know, there's a time of planting and time of harvest. Self-education makes you to believe in the law of cause and effect. For every effect, there is a cause. And you find answer rather than attributing it to all sorts of superstition. As a matter of fact, self-education makes you not to live in superstition. You woke up and you saw a rat, or you saw a cat, or you left your house and you hit your left leg on the stone when you are coming out. You won't attribute it to anything. Self-education helps you to be able to know the changing times and seasons in your life. It helps you to know how to respond. So time and season. You don't just know the changing time, you're able to respond correctly. Self-education helps you to live, to know how to live and how to walk. It helps you to only pursue peace more than justice. It helps you to focus on the race set before you. It helps you to move away from religion to fruitfulness and relationship with God. It helps you to have grace to succeed in all your endeavor. Because grace is multiplied through knowledge. 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 And because grace is multiplied through knowledge, self-education increase your knowledge and make much grace abound towards you. Say grace and peace be multiplied through the knowledge of the Savior. Grace and peace be multiplied through the knowledge of the Savior. The more you know in a particular area of life, the more grace available for you to do exploit in that area. The more idea you have in that area. Why? The power of self-education. Self-education helps you to know that breath is a sign that there is something more to conquer. So when you wake up every morning, self-education reminds you that you are alive today means there is more to do. Breath is a sign that there is something else to conquer. Breath is not a sign to live for self. There's something more to conquer in order to be a blessing to the world. Breath is a sign. Breath is a sign that there's something more, something greater to conquer. Breath is a sign. Self-education makes you to live, not for yourself, a more meaningful and impactful life. Not for yourself, but for others. So the question then is, what is the impact of lack of self-education? Before we go to how then do we go about self-education? Lack of self-education is what makes you to be confused about what to do with your life. When you are confused, you don't know what to do. As in, you're just confused. You just, what should I do? As in, you don't even, lack of self-education. Lack of self-education. You don't know what to do with your life. You're confused. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? There is no clarity. Self-education brings clarity as to what next to do and even how to do it. So whenever you discover there is lack of clarity, no problem. It's just a symptom of lack of self-education. So know that means there's more. I need to learn more. I've accepted that ignorance is a gift. So whenever I make mistake, I accept my ignorance. They're willing to learn more. Lack of self-education makes you to be confused about your life. Lack of self-education makes you to pursue success instead of significance. When your pursuit in life is about material things, that is a symptom of lack of self-education. When your focus in life is pursuit of success and not significance, that's a sign of lack of self-education. When your focus is on tangible money rather than intangible money, that's a sign of lack of self-education. If you are not pursuing intangible money, but you are pursuing tangible money, that's a sign of lack of self-education. So you pursue cash at the expense of intangible money. Lack of self-education makes you to be existing instead of living. Lack of self-education makes you to be existing instead of living. Lack of self-education makes you to spend your life just living for survival instead of living for purpose. Lack of self-education makes you to become damaged by religion. There are many people that are damaged by religion. They're so damaged by religion They can't interpret their reality. They don't have any direction in life. They're just waiting until Christ comes. And if Christ is not coming in their lifetime, they remain like that till they leave this world doing nothing with their life. Damaged by religion. Damaged by religion. Many people are damaged by religion. Sadly, 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 sadly. Many people are damaged by religion. They can't even express themselves. They are timid. They are being crushed, beaten and battered by religion. Lack of self-education makes you to have the wrong priority in life. Lack of self-education makes you to always be in the dark. You don't know what to do. Always in the dark. What should I do now? What should I do now? I don't know what to do. Always in the dark. Lack of self-education makes you to always be in the dark. Lack of education makes you to live your life by guesswork. So people are living by default, not by design. They are not living based on good thinking, but rather by guesswork. Lack of self-education makes the society to dictate to you how to live. So everything you do, you're asking, what will people say? 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 As if you have control by what they will say. And in the bid to control what they will say, they indirectly control what you do with your life. Lack of self-education is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new year. Please, I beg you. This year, educate your mind. Invest in it. Don't say there is no data. Go online. Read books. Don't say there is no time. There is time. Anything that is important in life, you make time for it. If it is essential, you make time for it. You don't have time for what you see as being not essential. If it's important, if it's essential, you will make time for it. You are not making time for it because it's not important. You're not able to read, learn. You know, we have hundreds of audio materials right now that you can have access to. There was a time we discussed critical thinking. There was a time we discussed questioning. You know what? For self-education, you see those sessions, you see those two series, please. That's where to start from. That's where to start from. Questioning, critical thinking. See those two? They will help you to be able to do more self-education. They will lay for you a solid foundation for self-education. Self-education makes the society dictate for you how to live. Self-education will make society dictate for you what is important in life. They'll tell you marriage is what is important. Having children is what is important. Getting a job is what is important. Doing a business is what is important. They'll tell you what they think is important. And you will forget about the reason why you are here. Survival is what is important. Someone is sad that he didn't get a job. He's unhappy. That he's not married. He's unhappy. He doesn't have kids. He's not unhappy that he's existing and not living because of lack of self-education. He's not unhappy. He's not sad that he's just existing and not living because of lack of self-education. So that's not important to him. That is not important. Society will rule your life if you don't educate your mind. Society will tell you what is important, and society is flawed. Society is very flawed. Most things society teaches you are wrong. Most are wrong. Because the society only go on the path of least resistance. Societies tell you that what's life without making money, without money. So you focus on cash at the expense of value. Because you think life is about money. Because that's what society say. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad. But that's the society we find ourselves. That society we find ourselves. Self-education is a critical success factor in fulfilling your calling in life. Do you know why you compare yourself with your classmate and colleague? We left school at the same time. See where they are. See where I am. See the job they have. See the business he's doing. See the car he's driving. And we finish school at the same time. Lack of self-education make you to compare yourself with yourself. And you know what the scripture say? The scripture say it is foolishness to compare yourself with others, as if you came into this world to achieve the same objective. But that's what you see people doing. And Instagram is leading that way, seriously. Instagram is leading that way, seriously. So Instagram is what is defining people's reality. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. So people keep faking it on Instagram. Deceiving the world. And the gullible just believe everything they see online. Lack of self-education makes you to live based on superstition. Lack of self-education makes you to live based on superstition. Lack of self-education makes you to be waiting for miracle where unbelievers are succeeding. Where unbelievers are succeeding, you are waiting for miracle because of lack of self-education. You are looking for supernatural intervention where unbelievers that doesn't believe in God are doing it. You are depending. You are relying and waiting for miracle. Unfortunately, God is not a waster. He won't waste his resources. He won't perform that miracle. Don't worry. He won't perform it. He won't. He's not a waster of resources. Until he becomes beyond human control or human capacity, then he will step in. Lack of self-education will hinder you from fulfilling your calling on the earth. It will stop you from becoming who you are born to be. In fact, it will make you to live a frustrated and dissatisfied life. As I round up this evening, how then can we begin to engage in self-education? Remember, education is the ability of the human spirit to experience its environment, ask the right question, and know which of the options to choose urgently. Urgently. By that standard, many professors are not educated. Many professors are not educated. Some time ago, a DJ of one of the government agencies that has to do with technical education was telling us his experience at a particular forum in Malaysia. You know what happened in that forum? Right there in that forum, another professor from Malaysia met the Nigerian professor and asked, "Hello, professor, how many patents do you have in the market?" Nigerian professor was looking. No patent. You begin to ask yourself, what is he professing? No product in the market. So how do we engage in self-education? Self-education starts by understanding the life, the truth about life, and what life is all about. Self-education starts by understanding the truth about life and what life is all about. And what life is all about. Self-education starts by understanding the truth about life and about what life is about. Self-education is giving a direction, a thrust to your life when you know why you are here. Self-education is better applied when you have discovered your calling. If you have not discovered your calling, you won't be able to properly engage in self-education because you engage in self-education in your area of calling. And by self-education, it's on two parts. One, life, the other, calling. One is life, the other is calling. One is life, the other is calling. So self-education about life and self-education about your calling. Self-education about life and self-education about your calling. So life on one hand and calling on the other hand. Life on one hand and calling on the other hand. If you have a good understanding of this combination, it makes life easy. Life and calling. The truth about life and the truth about your calling. It's better applied when you discover your calling, and it can be developed through reading material that teaches you about the enigma called life. Self-education can be developed through reading of materials that teaches you how to put the puzzles of life together. You know, many people, for their lifetime till they leave this world, will be unable, they are unable to put the puzzle of life together. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. You need to learn how to put it together in a way that it fits and form the shape that defines you. In a way that it fits and form the shape that defines you. And form the shape that defines you. So putting that puzzle of life together to form a perfect image of who you are born to be. And that's extremely important. Many people are unable to put that puzzle together. Self-education can be achieved through reading of materials that let you know that breadth is a sign that something higher to conquer. Like I said, the foundation of self-education is questioning. questioning, and critical thinking. So I'm glad that we have laid that foundation last year. So for those of us that are listening, I know, sometimes you listen, you forget. Please go and get it. It's right there on SoundCloud. Go and get it. Questioning and critical thinking. Questioning and critical thinking. Remember, when you self-educate, it said, be ye transformed by renewing of your mind. Be ye transformed by renewing of your mind. It helps you to renew your mind. So by reading materials in your area of calling, you develop self-education. By going through materials on critical thinking, questioning, laying that critical foundation is very important. Material that teach you to think, material that teach you to question, material that teach you to think, material that teach you to question are in strongest material for you. In fact, one of the most important things you will do, one of the things you need to do in life to be able to become who you are born to be is asking questions. But if you don't think, you won't be able to ask questions. You need raw material to think, and that's what self-education does for you. Self-education can be developed by learning from those that have gone ahead of you. Self-education is possible through commitment to lifelong learning. And remember, the critical part of self-education will be in your area of calling. But when you think about understanding life through self-critical thinking and questioning, having laid that foundation, build on it, your area of calling. Learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning until you are approved. Until you become an expert. Until you become an expert. And I must say that the fundamental source of self-education is in scriptures. The principles in scriptures. Talking about understanding life now. Talking about understanding life as a component of self-education. Scriptures, scriptural principles. Self-education is made through commitment to lifelong learning and commitment to convert every second of your day to added value in yourself. Self-education can be done by reading biographies of those that have gone ahead of you in your area of calling. And self-education can be developed through learning and practicing scriptural principles. Scriptural principles. The foundation of self-education is rooted in scriptural principles. As I round off, I will talk about some of those scriptural principles that I've mentioned in the past, just a way of remembrance to some of us. Law of tangibility, everything physical is subject to change because they can be taken out by flood, by foe, and by fire. So build your life on intangible things of life. There is a video, a 30-minute video talking about that law of tangibility. A 30-minute video. And I was having a conversation with Chidi, and I was asking questions, just discussing law of tangibility. Same for law of sowing and reaping. Whatsoever you sow in time, treasure, and talent, you reap sooner or later. There is a 30-minute video on that same principle again. The law of every relationship. The more you seek peace above justice in your relationship, the healthier they become. There is a 30-minute video discussing also on that topic. The law of gestation. Every good thing or idea you work at, take time to materialize. Avoid the temptation of easy results. There is another 30-minute video on the law of gestation. On the law of gestation. Avoid temptation of hasty results. The law of mental labor. The more you sweat in your brain, the more you earn. And the more you sweat in your muscle, the less you earn. There is a 30-minute video on that. The law of promotion. The more consistent you are in diligently doing the right thing, the higher your chance of promotion in life. There's a 30-minute video on that. The law of vision. You only become what you see in your future. You can only feature in the future you are pictured. There is a video on that. So there are materials for you to be able to develop this mindset. At least to lay the foundation. At least to lay the foundation. Particularly on the area of life, understanding life. The law of personal responsibility. God will not do for you what he has given you the capacity and intellect to do for yourself. There is a 30-minute video on that. The law of money. The more intangible money you possess in life, the more you develop capacity to solve problems and challenges that confront you in life. Lastly, the law of qualifying for the top. To be qualified for the top in life, in your field, you need to study to be approved as an expert through the investment of 10,000 hours of learning. We talked about this extensively during the December bootcamp. As a round-off, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing this in January, and I'm happy we're having this conversation in January when most of us are thinking and planning ahead for the year. Because you know what? People are wiser in January. 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 And if we can plan and make it habit, it's going to be an interesting, lovely, profitable, and successful year for all of us. Now that you know these things, happy, blessed, and successful shall you be if you do them. All right. Let me hear from you. Thank you for being able to join tonight, those of us that made it. Let me start from who is the first on my list there? Demola, you are the first on my list. Demola, what do you have to say tonight?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Demola, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. This one is an additional to what we have been learning so far.
Yes.
So like always, anytime I find myself in field, I just always remember Mr. Babdele said all those lessons I used to listen to online, even though I'm not in class, but I used to listen to all the programs on SoundCloud. I used to download them. But anything I want to do, I will just remember, I will be thinking, am I doing the right thing? So this one is also an additional to what we have been learning. At least this program made me to understand how to organize my time, to set a plan, to have independence, and to be self-direct. So that is what I've learned so far tonight, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Sir. Thank you very much. Faith Auko or Auko. Hello, Faith, are you there? Okay, Faith is not. Yeah, Kemi, how is essay tonight?
Essay is fine. Thank you very much. Good evening.
How are you coping with COVID?
God is helping us.
All right.
I have a question about the self-education. So, is it just like educating yourself? What's the curriculum?
I gave two things. Number one, understanding life.
Okay.
And I gave two things, and I will deliberate about that. Questioning and critical thinking. By the time you learn how to question, then you begin to question everything. From there, you will see the curriculum. By the time you begin to question everything, you begin to find answers to those questions. You begin to find answers to those questions. All of us have different realities. Because of the way you were brought up, you have a different reality from me. There are some things you've come to believe that I don't. There's some I believe that you don't because of the way we're brought up. And those are the things we are trying to correct. But it's questioning that will make it easier for us to be able to identify those things. And then we can begin to ask questions and then finding answer. And we have the blessing of the internet to look for those answers on the area of life. And to drive that home very well, I'll talk about the principles that should guide the way we should live. She's talking about self-education as far as life is concerned. That's why I mentioned those videos that we've recorded in the past of interview I had with different people on some of those principles, just trying to elaborate more on them. So 1, questioning. 2, critical thinking. 3, understanding the principle that guide how we are to live our lives. And on the other side of calling, you're discovering yourself and developing yourself in your area of calling in order to become holistic and be able to fulfill your purpose on the earth. So curriculum is in twofold: life. Then the other one that is calling, that one you can easily, if you know what your area of calling is, now to develop yourself in that area. The research you do will determine, the sector will determine what you have to read, what you have to learn in developing that area and fulfilling your calling. I don't know if I'll be able to answer your question.
Very well, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, sir. So my own question is, what is the effect of upbringing? What it has to do with self-education? Like, is there any effect of upbringing towards self-education? I hope you get the question. Hello, sir.
Yes. Again.
Like, what is the effect of upbringing towards self-education? Is there any effect to that?
Yes, there is. Your worldview,
Okay.
the way you see things because of your environment, which is created by your upbringing. I always talk about this trajectory from your environment to your action. Environment influence experience, experience affect knowledge, knowledge affect belief, belief affect value, value affect choices, and choices affect actions.
Okay.
So the reason why you talk the way you talk, the reason why you see things the way you see that I don't see that way, someone else don't see that way, is because of that upbringing. So definitely upbringing affects you a lot. Seriously, actually. In fact, self-education goal, one of the goals is to uninstall all the wrong software installed in you by your upbringing. Does it make sense, please? Hello? Gemola, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I understand.
All
Actually, right. It's for us that will become a father one day, at least.
Ngozi. Ngozi, what do you have to say tonight?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for having us. I didn't really join the time, but I was able to get something. We talk about self-education and then based on life and calling. So I have a question though. For those who have like they can plainly say that this is a calling, okay? Because as you explained, knowing your calling and educating yourself, it should be based on your calling, right? So I would like to know, educating yourself on life generally, like understanding the truth about life, while trying to put the puzzle together, can that, in the quest of educating yourself on life, can that shape your calling, like give you probably a better understanding of it?
It can help you to begin to think and write to discover your calling. It can help you because in the course of self-education, you realize that these are the things that should be important to me in life. These are the things I should pay attention to. When I begin to pay attention to those that are important, somehow, I just find myself discovering my calling along the line. So it's very possible that while I'm trying to learn about life, I just discover what I believe I'm called to do. Very possible.
All right. Sorry. Could you define your education again? I didn't join.
Education is the ability of the human being to see a situation and ask the right question and know which option to choose as a matter of urgency. Is able to look at situations in the environment, ask the right question, and know what to do. What is very urgent and important to do. Is that okay? Hello? Hello, Ngozi? Okay, Ngozi is maybe having a network issue. I want to be sure if you got me or if you understood what I've said. Okay, Chidi. I think you are the only one outstanding. Chidi, are you there?
Okay, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the some of the things I got today actually is number one, the foundation of self-education is rooted in scriptural principles. I think that is a, like, to me, I see that as a shortcut instead of people spending years discovering things. We already have it just written down in the scriptures, and all we need to do is just understand it. Okay, so although the understanding part is actually asking, then life is like a jigsaw puzzle. You need to learn to put it together. Like, oh, if right now, I want to learn how to play jigsaw first to be able to conceptualize that very well. Well, I like that perspective of life because it indeed has so many parts that you can live a balanced life. We need to understand them. So, my question is what role does history play in self-education? Because I've been studying recently and I've been seeing some strange things regards environment and history. So I would like to get your perspective on what role history plays on self-education.
History validates the principle you learn in the course of self-education. It's validated. History lets you know of how people live and at the end of the day, what became of them, what happened to them afterwards or along the line. So history becomes a tool for validating what you learn as principle. Also, through history, you are able to educate yourself about the result of an action, such that even if you don't know that principle, if you are wise and you see that someone did this and this is the result, if that result is negative, of course, history will let you know that if you go that direction, you're likely going to get the same result. And because of that, you are most likely not going to go that route. So history contributes, in my opinion, significantly to self-education, particularly when it is seen as a source of drawing principles and, of course, learning from example of others that have gone ahead of you, basically helping you to prevent you from recycling the error of others. Have I answered your question?
You understand it partially from a perspective and understand that very well. Then also secondly, still on history, to what degree should it influence? Because we understand that environment to a very large degree influences us, right? So the history now, looking at history from the perspective of our environment, history from the perspective of where we stay. So how to what extent should it influence um, our self-education plans as regards the peculiarities that our history in terms. I'm not being specific in terms of environment, in terms of location now. The history of where we come from, the history of where we live. To what degree should it influence self-education personally?
By history of where we live, what do you mean? So I live in Lagos. Are you talking about now the history of Lagos? How does it affect my self-education?
I'm more concerned. I'm more concerned of peculiarities that, for example, now someone that grew up in the East, there are certain characteristics that these guys ought to be. There are certain advantages based on where they live, right? So now I've changed location, right? Let's say for someone that grew up in the East and is now living in the West, right? He has some his environment has shaped him to an extent when he was in the East and now in the West, right? So so if he's trying to change, renew his mind, right? So to what degree should his upbringing in the East influence his choices currently?
No, upbringing, look, all that you have become until you begin to live by design, all you have become is as a result of your environment. That's why I often tell people that you are not who God created. You are who Nigeria or Lagos has made you to become. You are who Nigeria or Lagos has made you to become. So it influences, in fact, Chidi, the reason for self-education is to uninstall what your history in the environment installing you. That's the goal of self-education. So the history already has put a lot into you as your environment, has put a lot into you. And by environment, I mean your history. When you look at your life, your history has told you some things that are wrong, that are deceptive, that are not right, that are false, but you don't even know how to separate them. It's self-education that helps you to be able to differentiate and then take the right decision and know which one to embrace and which one to jettison. I don't know if that's clear now.
Yeah, that explains that, but it also brings another question. I can
Okay,
go ahead.
go ahead.
All right. So from the perspective of I lost my line of thought. From the perspective of the choices that we make as a result of um let me there's someone trying to ask a question. Let me answer. Let me try and articulate my thought. I just lost my line of thought.
All right. Kami, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I one very key thing that I've taken home tonight is what you just said, that you are not who exactly God had created you to be. You are the result of
Your
some
environment.
other factors,
Yes.
your environment. So, and I believe that would also include parental upbringing.
Parents, your school, your church, your friends, your siblings, all of them combined. The media,
So
the TV.
okay. So recently, I have been taking a sort of, I think over the years, I've been taking a sort of personal evaluation. And I now got to some point that deep inside me, there are some ways I don't want to behave or react to some certain situations. But I react like that because that is what I learned. I learned that if a child does something wrong, you shout, you nag, do you understand
Yes.
the way my parents, my mom used to handle things?
Yes.
So when I'm now evaluating those things, I discover a kind of too much aggressiveness.
Mhm.
Do you understand? So I now said to myself that I can separate that. That's not me. I learned it because I grew up with this kind of
Yeah.
environment. So if I'm able, if I'd grown up somewhere else where there's a little bit of calm, they handle things differently. So I started liking those other way of handling things differently. And I said to myself, I'm going to separate myself from that. So the what you just said, just it gave me a brighter understanding of the whole self-education thing. So I've
Yeah.
been able to educate myself that what I learned, the good part and the bad part.
Yes.
So how do I make sure that that bad part does not affect me negatively? So that I just wanted to say that I really got a big revelation from what you just said now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We are not
Thank
who
you very
we
much.
are supposed to be. Our environment has already influenced everything. So the way you react, even what you just said now, I also experience it. Sometimes when I do something, I'll be asking myself, why now? Why are you doing it that way? Why? As in, I'll be questioning myself, and I will be remembering my parents. So now you have to now be consciously against acting against that. Else, you basically just repeat their errors because that has been installed and it needs to be uninstalled, and it has to be a deliberate effort. And that's where learning comes in. Chidi, can you remember what you wanted to say now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So from what we've said so far, this environmental influences is on a subconscious scale.
Yes.
There are some that are very visible, right? But there are some, and I think most of it actually are subconsciously because,
Yes.
yeah, they are subconscious. So my question now is, what will you recommend, right, for, because if it is on a subconscious scale, then I think it becomes very important that one understands his history because um, that is one. It's because very important for us to understand the history of where it is or where it comes from, something like that. But for countries like for environment where we are now, where history is not really important, but not taken seriously, and there's really not so much you can actually learn formally. You understand? So recommendation on that, and also your contribution on the fact that on the importance of learning history as part of self-education.
No, I didn't get that too. I didn't get the second part. Hello? Hello, Chidi. I can't hear you. Are you talking? Hello, Chidi. I wanted you to repeat yourself. Maybe it's having a network issue. It's not, I can't hear her. I can't hear. Okay, yes. It seems to have a network issue. You have to go out to be able to come back. So he was he talking about the environment thing? And I wanted to confirm. Now, in uninstalling rather, what the environment has installed, this is the way I like to make the illustration. Imagine water in a drum. The drum is very big and filled to the brim, and you can't carry it. And you want to empty what is inside. What you want to pour inside that drum is with heavier density, like sand. You want to remove the water and put sand. Don't even attempt to pour out the water. Just begin to put sand inside. Continue to put sand inside. And it will naturally displace the water that is inside. That way, you can reasonably ensure that that have been installed is systematically removed from the mind because of the new information coming in. Be ye transformed by renewing of your mind. Chidi, I wanted to repeat the question, but I attempted to answer it, but you were not around. Maybe you repeat the question again now.
So, all right. So what I was trying to say was, a lot of this influence that the environment has on us is subconscious, right? So it's not we are not directly in charge of its programming, that is of the entire process, right? So now, in a country like ours, where and that means for me that insinuates that it's important we understand the history of where we are from to be able to navigate better, especially if we want to build.
What exactly?
So putting it in context now, I'm using history. I'm using history of our environment.
History before
For
you were born.
example, not just yes.
Because history before you were born should not be a concern. The one that affects you is what happened when you were born, even though it was caused by what happened before you were born. Because if you look at it from your own perspective now, how has Nigeria affected you? How it has affected you is based on what you experienced while you are in it.
Okay. So that's what. Okay. Because the way I'm saying actually is understanding how Nigeria was before I was born. I can see patterns of how Nigeria system works and learn from that. So I can now know why I'm behaving in certain ways and be able to make better choices. But if I don't have the information, right, I'm going to probably the influence is already there because it has been created before I was born. So if I don't have the information of or probably no, I don't know whether I need to even know it directly, but a way of actually getting to know the influence that.
Now, if I'm going to recommend, I would rather say look for truth about the way you should live and see how that is different from what the society have installed. That way, you find it easier to know what you must uninstall in your mind. Look for truth about how to live and compare it to what the society has installed. Because you might not be able to find the root cause like you are planning. You might not be able to find it. And if you are unable to find it, that should not be a reason why you are not able to do what you need to do. Because you are not able to find it. That should not be a reason why you're not able to do what you need to do. So rather than trying to find it, I would rather you analyze the situation. What is the wrong mindset that you have developed? That wrong mindset you have developed is the critical issue right now. Truth will let you know. For example, society say you have to revenge. Do me, I do you. Truth says peace is superior to justice. So based on truth, you are able to identify wrong philosophy, wrong ideology, and then know which one to embrace. The more you learn about that truth, the more you renew your mind, the less the impact of what was installed before. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because it's subconscious, that's why you can't fight it. You can't use bombface to stop it. Rather, to renew your mind so that the way the society installed in you for over a period, you uninstall also systematically, slowly, softly, continuously, until you eventually come out of that quagmire. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I understand now. The absolutity of truth gives you a reference standard.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I said I understand perfectly. The absolutity of truth gives us a reference standard. So irrespective of the current environment or whatever factors, there's any standard that you can measure up to. I think it's more clear now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. It's been another interesting evening. So self-education has a lot of unlearning and relearning. Fantastic, Faith. That's exactly it. I learned that self-education brings clarity and it's a lifelong process. Very correct. Very correct. It brings clarity and it's a lifelong process, and it involves a lot of unlearning and relearning. In fact, the summary of self-education is actually unlearning and relearning. Unlearning and relearning. Unlearning and relearning. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. See you next week. I think Chidi has already dropped some of those links. It will be great if you can try to go through them. Next week, we'll continue our conversation. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.